I was earning almost 100k in finance at age 25. I had the apartment, the suits, the life, but I felt lost. Every morning I woke up and thought, is this really my purpose in life? To sit 50 hours a week working on spreadsheets. I'd look at the senior guys 15 years ahead of me and see an emptiness in their eyes. They were my future and it terrified me. I wanted out, but I was too terrified that there was no other way to earn an income and have a job. So I tried to fix my life with self-help books. I journaled to gain mental clarity about what to do with my life. I meditated to calm the anxiety and stress. And you know what happened? I felt like more of a failure because now I had everything and I was doing all the right things to be happy, but I still had no idea what to do with my life. I was living someone else's definition of success. That's when I realized modern self-help is broken for the analytical guys out there who work in corporate jobs. 3 years ago, I quit everything and I reverse engineered what actually gives rational thinking men purpose in life by studying the men who seem to have figured it out. Jordan Peterson, Marcus Aurelius, Abraham Lincoln. They all did one thing that every self-help guru is too afraid to tell you. When I started doing it, however, I found my purpose in less than a year. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what it is and I'll give you the exact 10-minute framework I use to find my purpose in life. I'm Henry and I help analytical men who work in corporate jobs build confidence, overcome anxiety, and find purpose in life. Keep watching because what I'm about to show you will change how you see your life. But first, let me show you why everything you've been told is missing an important truth. Here's the problem with most modern self-help. It tells you to be grateful, to appreciate what you have, to build close relationships, to focus on inner peace and acceptance. And look, those things aren't bad, but they are incomplete because they fundamentally misunderstand the psychology of what gives a man purpose in life. I spent countless hours reading these books, trying to fix myself, and nothing really changed much. In fact, it got worse. I'd sit there journaling about gratitude while feeling like a fraud inside. I'd meditate and feel even more disconnected from my life. And I thought I was broken, that maybe I just wasn't meant to have a clear purpose in life. But then I started asking a different question. What if the advice itself was the problem? What if men need something fundamentally different to find purpose? And that's when everything clicked. Why? Because in hindsight, I realized something crucial. Men find purpose when they live like warriors. Now, before you click away thinking this is some toxic masculinity nonsense, stay with me, because what I'm about to show you is backed by psychology, history, and the lives of the most purpose-driven men who ever lived. But here's what's wild. The warrior lifestyle I'm talking about has nothing to do with what you think. In fact, if you try to be a warrior the wrong way, you'll end up more lost than before. Let me explain. So if you're a rational thinker like me, here's how I figured this out. I analyzed men who lived purpose-driven lives and then reverse engineered what they did. Jordan Peterson, Marcus Aurelius, Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln fought against slavery. Peterson fought against ideological brainwashing. Marcus Aurelius fought for virtue in a corrupt Roman Empire. What's the pattern? What's the secret sauce no one dares to talk about? All of these men metaphorically went to war. Specifically, they fought what I call a visionary war. And that's what you're supposed to do as a man in your life. Let me explain with a story. A client of mine who was depressed, stuck in a corporate job, came to me and said, Henry, I watched the movie Troy and I saw this warrior Achilles fighting in the movie and I thought it must be impossible to feel purposeless if you're a warrior at war. The warriors looked alive, they knew what they were doing, what they were fighting for. My client sensed something profound. Men find purpose in battle because it makes them come alive. It makes them feel strong, it gives their life direction. It's ingrained in their DNA. The desire for battle is a masculine instinct, what psychologists would call an archetype. And if the warrior instinct isn't lived out in a man's life, the man will become unhappy. I'm confident that many mental health problems men face today stem from not finding a healthy expression for their masculine instincts. Think about it. We live in the safest, most comfortable era in human history, but men are more depressed and anxious than ever before. Why? Because for thousands of years, men were warriors, hunters, builders, protectors. They had a clear enemy to fight, a clear mission to accomplish, a clear purpose. And now, they sit in cubicles, answering emails, attending meetings about other meetings. There's no battle, there's no mission, there's no clear purpose. And our psychology hasn't caught up to this new reality. Now, critical distinction here. Literal war is terrible. I'm not promoting violence. I'm promoting battle and being a warrior as a metaphor. Specifically, one of man's deepest desires is to exert his will to power in life, not negatively, but positively, to change the world with his ideas, inventions, and his vision. And the act of bringing visionary ideas into the world is a form of battle. Why? Because visionary ideas that truly fix humanity's problems, are typically met with backlash, disapproval, resistance. As the German philosopher Schopenhauer said, all truth passes through 3 stages. First, it is ridiculed. Second, it is opposed violently. And third, it is accepted as self-evident. So when you pick a vision and bring it into the world, you are engaging in a visionary war. Let me give you concrete examples. Jordan Peterson fought against ideologies trying to regulate speech. He was ridiculed, threatened, nearly lost his career, but he kept fighting because he believed in free speech. Marcus Aurelius fought for integrity and virtue whilst ruling a difficult Roman Empire. Every day he had to battle against corruption and against his own temptations to abuse his authority. Abraham Lincoln fought for democracy and America's founding principles at a time when half the US population wanted him dead and wanted to keep slavery alive. He could have taken the easier path, but he chose war instead. These men fought for high values, freedom, truth, integrity, growth, which meant they had to fight against people who were pushing the opposite: enslavement, brainwashing, evil. This visionary battle, combining the masculine instinct to fight with the desire to do good, is what gave them purpose. Here's the key. The combination of battle plus vision is what creates purpose. If you battle without a vision, you become a fighter with no purpose. You burn out fighting for things you don't believe in. You become bitter, angry, even destructive. If you have a vision without the drive to battle, you become a dreamer, a philosopher, sitting in your room with beautiful ideas that never touch reality. You waste your potential, essentially. The combination is what creates a purposeful vision. Vision plus battle. If you want to live a purposeful life as a man, pick a high vision and go to battle for that vision. Be a visionary warrior. Now, I know what you're thinking. That sounds great for Lincoln and Peterson, but I'm just a regular guy with a 9-to-5. How do I actually find my visionary war? That's the exact question I asked myself many years ago, and the answer changed everything. So here's the problem most men face. They understand the concept, they get that they need to find a visionary war to fight, but they have no idea how to find their vision. They look at Peterson fighting for free speech or Lincoln fighting for democracy and think, I'm not a public intellectual, I'm not the president, what war am I supposed to fight? They get confused, unsure of how to become a visionary warrior, so they give up and then go back to scrolling and wasting time on their phone, and they stay stuck in their unfulfilling job. I was the same way. I understood the warrior archetype, I knew I needed a battle, but I had no clue where to start. Plus, I was afraid. What if I pick the wrong battle and waste years going down the wrong path? Or what if I become too radical and become crazy? Maybe my girlfriend won't support me on my journey. So to address these fears, I created a clear framework, a simple process that helped me identify my specific visionary war in a way that made it simple to implement in my already existent life. No radical changes needed. Within weeks of using this framework, I had clarity. I knew what I was fighting for, I knew where my battlefield was, and I knew exactly what my first battle needed to be. Now, I could try to explain the entire framework in this video, but it wouldn't work, because finding your visionary war isn't something you can do passively whilst watching a YouTube video. It requires you to sit down and answer specific questions about your life. So instead, I created a short guide called the Visionary Warrior Blueprint. It's a step-by-step exercise that walks you through the exact framework I used. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes to complete, and by the end, you'll have 3 things. 1, crystal clear understanding of what your values actually are and what your vision is. 2, your specific battlefield, where you can actually fight based on your current life. 3, your first battle, the first concrete step you can take to start living like a visionary warrior. This is a very practical tool that gives you clarity. It took me about 10 years to understand what I'm teaching you here, so this framework will save you a lot of time. And I'm giving this framework away completely free because I know how lost I felt before I figured out my purpose. I wasted years reading self-help books that didn't work, years feeling directionless despite doing everything right. You don't have to waste that time. The link to download the Visionary Warrior Blueprint is in the description. Download it and find your battle. Every day you wait is another day you wake up feeling lost. How many more mornings can you afford? But before you go download it, there's one critical thing you need to understand. Look, one of modern man's greatest tasks is to combine his raw masculine instincts with his higher values. Most modern men fail at both. They suppress their masculine instincts because society tells them it's toxic, so they become passive, agreeable, harmless, or they embrace their masculine instincts without higher values, which might make them become selfish and only focus on money and women. Both paths lead to feeling purposeless. The visionary warrior combines both, however. He has the drive and the willpower of a warrior, but he channels it towards a higher vision, towards making the world a better place. And that's the secret. That's what Peterson, Aurelius, and Lincoln all understood. And that's why so many men feel directionless, because nobody's teaching them this. The framework I'm giving you works because it makes you combine both. vision and battle. Your values give you the vision, your warrior instinct gives you the drive to fight for it. Vision plus battle equals purpose. But here's the thing, you actually have to do it. Many men will download the blueprint perhaps and they'll feel inspired for 24 hours and then they'll go back to their old life. Information without action is just entertainment. Don't be that guy. Be the guy who downloads it, fills it out, and then takes on his first battle this week. Once you've identified your first battle, drop a comment below and tell me what it is. I read every comment and I want to know what you're going to fight for. Accountability matters, so declaring your battle publicly makes you more likely to do it. Now, the blueprint will help you identify your first battle, but if you want someone to help you fight it, scale it, and turn it into a life-defining purpose, I offer free clarity coaching calls where we map out your entire visionary war together, link in the description. The blueprint shows you what you want to fight for, and the one-on-one calls show you how to turn it into your career and life purpose, and how to remove the things which are stopping you, like fear of failure. Book the call now. I only take a limited number of calls every week. And if you want the weekly strategies, mindset shifts, and tactical advice that keep you fighting when challenges hit in your life, join my newsletter, also linked below. Follow me for more content on finding purpose as a modern, rational thinking man in the 21st century. The world doesn't need more passive men sitting on the sideline. It needs visionary warriors willing to fight for what matters. Be one of them, and watch the purpose in your life become crystal clear. I'll see you in the next video.